Welcome to Supply Chain Partners Coffee Break with Paradigm Venture Group, streaming live from LinkedIn and YouTube. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today and spending your coffee break with us. I'm Dr. Sharon Grant, the founder of Supply Chain Partners. Supply Chain Partners is your B2B marketplace and professional community to accelerate your business and supply chain goals. Now, if you have any questions you'd like to ask us during this live event, please enter your questions anytime in the chat box, and we'll be taking questions from the audience later in the show. So grab a coffee and I'll explain what we'll be covering today. So today I'll introduce you to our Gold Partner expert member, Paradigm Venture Group, and we'll be discussing their very special offer for Supply Chain Partners members. And you'll get to find out about their virtual conference coming up in January. Then I'll provide you with a brief tour of our Supply Chain Partners B2B marketplace. Supply Chain Partners is a membership-based professional community, and right now, individual members and corporate members can join for free on a 1-year free trial. At Supply Chain Partners, we take an educational approach to help industry professionals to navigate through this complex world of business and supply chain by providing access to experts and their innovative solutions, resources, and professional development opportunities. And we help our expert members to educate, inform, and reach their target audience who are seeking better ways to operate, improve, and grow their business. So right now, we're putting together a full calendar of professional development events that are going to be online for 2023. So these online events are free for Supply Chain Partners members. Together with our expert members, Supply Chain Partners will be hosting online events, including executive roundtables, educational webinars, deep dive workshops, fireside chats, and Supply Chain Partners virtual summits. So today we are showcasing our Gold Partner expert supplier member, Paradigm Venture Group. So I'd like to introduce you to Vincent Matozzo, the CEO and Managing Partner of Paradigm Venture Group. Thanks for joining us today, Vin.
Good morning, Dr. Grant. Thank you so much for having us and appreciate the opportunity to say hello to the community.
So today we'll be talking about Paradigm's very special offer for Supply Chain Partners members, and then we'll be finding out more about Paradigm's virtual conference coming up in January. Firstly, Vin, could you please provide an overview of Paradigm Venture Group and what your company is all about?
Absolutely. So thank you, Dr. Grant. A few years ago, we actually founded Paradigm Venture Group right at the tail end of the pandemic, working very closely at this time with healthcare partners, distributors, and service providers, predominantly in the healthcare industry, but really supply chain at large, right? Products, services, even noting things like third-party logistics and delivery, import, export, really everything that would affect the healthcare ecosystem. And what we really found is there were so many disparate silos of information, right? So many things as a chief procurement officer and strategic sourcing or value analysis that really needed to interact and didn't, right? So we liken it to a lot of the legacy gaming systems that were cartridge or, CD, VHS, 8-track placed, right? That were standalone, kind of sitting on the shelf. And when you look at that resource or that opportunity, there really was no way to draw parallels outside of a manual we like to call the stare and compare, right? From multiple files or disparate data sets or different systems. One could imagine even just shipping and logistics from order placement, a materials requirement planning system, and then contract management, updates and delivery, various partners. And so, that became very taxing. I've always been very fond of lean and agile workflows, going through a large amount of manufacturing training earlier in the career, and really wanted to create an ecosystem, almost an app store in place to assemble all this information, see how efficient and effective we really could make it, and then challenge our partners, our collaborators, and our customers and the ecosystem to really evolve. And so that was kind of how Paradigm was born. And we coined the phrase, the paradigm shift, right? And it's taking that information from, where it sits alone in its empty, disparate silo and trying to create that into a virtual process flow in a standardized way so that up and downstream, we can look at information differently.
Excellent. So which industries does your company support and what types of roles do you work with in your clients' organizations?
Absolutely. So it's rooted in lean and agile concepts, right? So we really start predominantly with manufacturing and manufacturing that supports various industries in healthcare. We have a fair amount of pharmaceutical and retail clients as well. Some aftermarket OEM manufacturers, things like housewares, grills, but even bakeries. So really the target market runs from healthcare providers and suppliers, like academic medical centers and integrated delivery networks, predominantly in North America and Canada. And then we have a pretty large international profile for shipping and receiving from Hong Kong, Vietnam, small amount of business actually in the Australian market today, but predominantly North America import-export. And we find that anyone really interested in program and process management and master data management. So that could be catalogs, that could be item requisitions, demand planning and forecasting, whether it's line of balance manufacturing or surgical procedures and volume and inventory, and then really the purchasing and procurement thereof. So, near and dear to my heart is value analysis and strategic sourcing. So it's the total cost of the product, the most efficient and effective way to get there. And there's really been no shortage of recalls, back orders, or supply chain interruptions. So, I guess the overarching comment is anyone that could benefit from a standard intake form, looking at that virtual process flow with takt time, when things occur, when things should have occurred and delayed, and then has a need to really render that in a customized board deck or dashboard from the boardroom down to the loading dock. So really is pretty broad, but we've seen a lot of success in healthcare and manufacturing directly over the past couple of years.
Great. Now, I know that you help organizations to make the shift from disconnected data silos. So what causes disconnected data silos to occur, and how does this impact on organizations and their supply chains?
Sure. No, that's a great question. And I think, as we unpack a lot of that, what really happens is, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So by merger and acquisition, which means multiple ERP systems, sometimes it's just organizational training, right? This is the way we've always done it, and there hadn't really been a centralized or standardized policy or control. And so, you look at just the natural evolution, merger and acquisition, unplanned growth, unplanned disruption. And generally, most informatic systems tend to wrap people around a process, right? Instead of the process around the people, or vice versa. And in certain industries, it works out really well. But when you think about things that we're facing in our current environment, like the great resignation, right? With people looking at and really balancing work life, the picking up in a hybrid remote environment, as well as kind of an aging and maturing workforce. And a lot of these concepts, it's challenging, it's daunting, right? You have to take that education, that talent, where they sit and where they are, that generational divide. Sometimes there's language barriers and even programming language, for concepts and things that I'll talk, accounting system A to ordering system B. So I think there's a lot of reasons on how that ultimately occurs. But the way we like to think of it, and I think traditional supply chain has really been like a ladder, right? Each rung, each step naturally progresses itself, and you transcend up and down the ladder. We tend to think of things almost more like a helix, right? So if you look at like DNA, there's natural inflection points where a data set should meet a data set. That could be the three-way match in order, placement, confirmation of delivery. That could be an accounting opportunity, and really looking at the takt time and the placement. So we try to deconstruct, the paradigm or the structure or the semantic layer, we like to call it, and what organizations are approaching the business today, and streamline that. So much like water or electricity, looking at the path of least resistance, we're really trying to unrelease that information from its different system, its different formats, different location, a data warehouse, right? Siloed partners. A lot of times the distributor holds information from the manufacturer. The end client isn't necessarily privy to that, right? Tier 1, tier 2 suppliers. So what we do is really challenge, and liberating that information. And it allows the organization to really manage and view the handoffs. One of the best analogies ever explained to me is you can be the world's fastest runner, in the 100 4x4, 25 meters at a clip, and everyone's handing off the baton. If you expect to get that baton, you're going to do really, really well, right? But imagine when you get an 8-pound construction cone or a brick, right? Versus what you were expecting. And that's that dirty data, that incomplete data set, right? Or that information that ultimately hadn't been passed off appropriately due to a lack of a process or a control in the system. So even if you're really good at your job, you're a world-class runner, right? You're going to be hindered because of the handoffs that happen. So it's our job to take that lean and agile approach and really look at those handoffs, look at those process controls. A lot of times, either like we talked about, from maturity, capacity, competency that have grown, and really take those to a new height and approach. And I think a little later in the call, there'll be some visuals that we can look at some of those operational issues. But long story short, it really is democratizing the data, I think, is the common buzz phrase these days, but really in a way where everyone can get at what they need for their role and function as quick as possible, but without limiting that up and downstream activity, right? And the analogy I use in a lot of instances is, what if your accountant was able to talk to your physician, right? And you kind of sit and think about that for a minute and go, well, why would I need to understand, my cost of living or my opportunity? Well, it's kind of like population health management, social determinants of care, right? The ability to actually understand and afford potentially a healthy, well-balanced diet, and maybe even the medication and the care delivery, right? So by really transcending that median, we think we're connecting something truly vital in the healthcare industry. And we've seen a very large pickup in adoption in manufacturing, in pharmaceutical, and even in education and training, right? And how you want to take that semantic layer and take a concept like supply chain, right? And dominate that to healthcare, or translate that to manufacturing in what would have been a typical, university education curriculum, right? How does my accounting degree help me in supply chain?
So what solutions does Paradigm offer to help organizations with disconnected data silos?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great question. And if I may, I'd like to even share a screen to maybe walk through a couple of those opportunities. And if that's okay, we can go ahead and do that. Sure. Okay. So I'll do that right now. I think, one of the interesting things really comes down to approach, right? And I think the approach really is limited by the tool set that, the potential partner, that ecosystem really has. And when you think about things, whether it's the Amazon experience of today or any type of platform, some of our differentiators here on the screen, I think, are really prolific. The first is really a collaboration, and that has many implications in procure to pay, in demand to distribution, and tracking your inventory. So it's no longer, the paradigm of here's a sales order, a purchase order, an invoice, right? And 3 potential separate systems, understanding all the different things like a match exception or a shipping discrepancy, over under shipment, or damaged product when it comes in. Taking all that information and putting it in one place where the shipper, the receiver, the buyer, the distributor, the importer, exporter can look at those things in one place really is a great example of that collaboration portal. And you're seeing a lot of systems modernize what they call their procure to pay or source to pay systems today. Managing your products and portfolios accurately. I think in the past 5 to 7 years, many catalog companies have come out and looked at taking your catalog, right? Living, breathing information, opportunities, products, hazardous material ratings, latex-free flags, customer requirements, as well as even things like weight and dimension, and being able to catalog that. And sometimes even in 3D or augmented reality, right? We're looking at many institutions now where you can place an order online and take your iPhone or your camera and almost see the piece of furniture, right, or good in your living room in an augmented virtual way. So it's really that living, breathing catalog. There's a lot of opportunity in automation, those tools. My personal favorite is Nagware, right? A task is coming up due, a task is either near due, a task has passed, and being able to automate that. Alerting organizations to when POs or budgets may be coming close to exhaustion. And then really, most importantly, looking at the workflow, how to take apart those parts and pieces and understanding what historically was a role-based responsibility. A buyer does X, a planner does Y, the importer exporter does Z and Q, right? And taking those things and really aligning the workflow. So growing up in my career, a lot of times things were time driven, right? Every second Tuesday was a replenishment cycle. Every third Wednesday was an import day, right? When you looked at that, that was because we allowed enough of those tasks to almost queue. Today, we can assemble a series of those tasks by organically when they complete. 3 out of 5 locations has processed an order. Is that enough to meet a minimum order delivery requirement? And I think that there's a lot that really happens. One of the interesting pieces is really looking at the artificial intelligence and the business intelligence around that. So you have all this information, right? And you just rip off that piece of paper every single day, not looking at the reoccurring issues or the potential opportunities to streamline? Or is there a way that you can compound those and then either predictively understand a forecast or ultimately be able to prescriptively anticipate, what might happen based on patient volume, based on flu season, based on a port or a labor strike, right, that might impact deliveries. And then it's only effective if you can really create a concierge approach around that, right? So taking that information and delivering it to the end user where they need it with what they need, and then understanding those up and downstream impacts. So, we really offer, I think, these differentiators in a concierge way, using some of the lean principles of reducing variation, looking at the past of least resistance, and a lot of times breaking down, the 7 most expensive words in business as that's the way we've always done it.
Excellent. So let's now talk about your Paradigm Shift app. Now, could you please explain what your Paradigm Shift app does and its purpose and how it works?
Absolutely. So when you look at the differentiators we have here, right, and really what you're attempting to do, a lot of times, and in today's environment, right, I don't think anyone would negate the benefit of your phone or your mobile, right? So being able to actually look at what's happening, orders at the loading dock, opportunities as they occur, demand and everything that's been occurring, limited visibility across the supply chain, right? I remember being in a leadership role and having to walk through various departments of planning, of purchasing, of logistics and receiving, and you really couldn't connect those dots in a very maintained or aligned way. So what we really strive to do was really put the power of all of that collaboration in your hand. And what we allow is organizations to take all those disparate data sets, the ERP, the invoicing, the alerts, even some of the education and training, and really kind of build a custom tile. So if you open up your iPhone or your Android device today, you almost have an ecosystem in an app store, right? Credit cards, payers, your scheduling app for creating meetings, your potential incoming, receiving, inspection, and even order statuses, right? So if you think about just those specific examples, how do you want to layer your various teams for success? We find a lot of value in mutual accountability matrix, right? Meaning a review, a quarterly or monthly business or weekly review between a supplier, distributor, and the customer, and being able to look at those metrics. And how many times are there an anecdote, right? This feels like, or 9 times out of 10, and some real arbitrary statements are thrown out. But we believe in kind of putting the power at your fingertips and creating this application. So what we're kind of showcasing here today is this control tower. And the control tower can really be consisted of all those various bricks that you need to run your business. We have a cute app called the Dropship Decoder, which basically just takes anything that your distributor ordered on your behalf and somehow lands at your loading dock from a manufacturer or from a freight forwarder or import-export agent. And it basically translates their purchase order to your purchase order based on shipped to, sold to, weight, and unique identifiers. So that really has a unique application, we think, in the environment. Demand and forecasting, not new to many of our manufacturing, especially, the General Electric and manufacturing folks out there, but fairly new to healthcare. So understanding those dips and those spikes in inventory and planning can be complex. And a lot of times in the middle of negotiations, purchasing decisions, key supplier performance reviews, that information's tough to gather. And then really anything around your contracting or, relationship management. And our entire goal was really to customize this information and allow end users to see it and service it right in a way that made sense. So they can sign in, leadership and administrators can provide certain permissions, right? Finance and payroll probably shouldn't be available to the entire organization. And then in reality, all of your events, your scheduling, your team business meetings, right? all those notifications, those push alerts, anything emergent really can be included in the app and pushed in a real-time format. And we think creating safety, interoperability, and opportunities. You could even load customer websites, training and education materials, or training as it pertains to specific roles, role-based responsibility and function. And we think it really creates an interoperable experience that the end user can customize for their roles and their responsibilities.
Excellent. And so where is your, how are your clients using the Paradigm Shift app actually, and what are the benefits they are seeing?
Yep, that's a great segue point, I think, here. So what's really interesting, we talked a little bit in the beginning where we got back, this access with workload management and business insights. So that's really the recipe or the blueprint, if you will, for our control tower. And what we're really trying to do is allow end users to engage that chat function, passing an invoice, a shipping, a receiver, a purchase order in between, assigning, right? Whether you're a buyer that owns a queue or an expediter or on a receiving dock, those different functions and how that relates in totality, right? The manager, the director, the receiver might need different views. We then are allowing an opportunity to govern, right? Creating workflows, creating those intakes and those outputs. Some resolution opportunities, tracking, acting, and alerting. So I think some of the continuous use cases are that demand planning, supply planning, financial analytic, inventory, demand sensing, and then order execution. And when we think about that, right, all those data sets, transactional, ERP, directional systems, warehousing systems, shipping ETAs and alerts, all of that really can be combined. And that's what allows us really to have the foundation to do things that are really pretty cutting edge, like artificial intelligence and machine learning. When at the third Tuesday of every month, the replenishment cycle might be low. We take that information and we plug it into a virtual data engine. And we know that not a lot of our members, not a lot of our potential partners have the time, the capacity, or the resources to really do that. So we really take a low code, no code approach of connecting that information for the institution and meeting them where they're at in capacity and competency concerns. So, if you want a forecasting report, we will work with you for the data sets that you have, the partners in your ecosystem, and really build something truly custom that we think helps out in a big way.
Excellent. So where is your Paradigm Shift app available from?
Yep, that's a great question. We've worked very hard this year. You can actually look at the Apple App Store online internationally, and it's under productivity tools. Just search for the word Paradigm. You can log in or request to log in. Now, obviously, if you're not participating with us and we don't have information, it'll look a little lonely in there. But we would like to be able to offer that, to the supply chain network and our partnership group, as well as it is available right now on desktop. You can schedule a consultation and we can, set that up for folks. So on the web, and then also on Android, similarly under productivity tools, the Paradigm Shift _SHIFT app. That's us.
Excellent. So how can interested parties see a demo of your Paradigm Shift app in action?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we'll post contact information for myself, or if you actually log on to the App Store and you go to sign in, there is a button right there that does say register or request a demo. And we do have a Digideck that will explain some of the information and allow you the mobile preview right here online. So you should be able to log in, look at the information. Obviously, it'll be dummy data, but see some of the use cases and offerings. And really, we're challenging members to help us come up with better concepts, better ideas, what could be possible for 2023 and beyond.
Excellent. Let's now talk about your fantastic member offer. Could you please explain your excellent offer of free access for Supply Chain Partners members to create a control tower light?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I think one of the key opportunities, again, think of it like air traffic control, right? There's a lot of planes, there's a lot of activity on the tarmac, and what we want to do is help you standardize that intake. So for a free consultation, we'll allow you to meet with us, provide a couple data sets or pieces of information. Typically, we see a lot of members with Excel spreadsheets or PDF copies of information, and we can take that and render this application or this landing page for you, co-branded to your company. Obviously, the one here on the screen is for Paradigm, but what we'd like to do is include your company logo and then connect 3 or 4 of those data sets. Predominantly, one of the most popular opportunities are the supplier scorecards. So if I have a particularly pesky supplier or an underperforming resource, looking at those data sets, we'll be willing to work with you to collaborate with that partner to pull some of the data forward so that you're able to manage that in near real time or at a refresh rate that's appropriate. And it's usually pretty simple, couple data sets, our solutions and programming architects, and we'd like to really see what's kind of possible for this limited time offer, and really be able to challenge the community to come back with some great ideas. So happy to do it.
Thank you very much. Now, your offer also includes a listing in your DigiDeck virtual network. And could you please share a few slides on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
we'd like
one
to
of
understand how it works.
Sure. So one of the key things that we found is really, and these interoperable insights, is really understanding the way that partners interact. And so almost think of this like a Rolodex or a library. For our partners, and when we bring someone in to the application and the opportunity, we like to showcase exactly who they are or what they do. So when we have a client that comes to us and says, hey, Vin, we're really interested in demand forecasting, right? We have a subject expert that really allows us to showcase her ability, her website, right? What that demand planning or that specific contact looks like. And then really kind of almost is like the calling card or the reference card in a library. So we're constantly picking partners and solutions and programs and applications to really help connect suppliers, distributors, providers, partners in this ecosystem. And by basically taking 3 to 4 slides, sometimes already predetermined PowerPoint or Google, YouTube content, we can create kind of that summary, list you in our index, and then you're available right now to the 50, 90 partners, right, that are in the resources and application looking for those experts. So you may come into the ecosystem and look for a demand planning expert, a master data expert, somebody helping to create those workflows or those systems. And so basically it's a free showcase. And then if the customer or the member is open to it, we'll work with you to show you how to create your platform and your offering in an interoperable way so that opportunities can almost present themselves from partners up or downstream, right? So if you're in third-party logistics, there might be folks looking for your services. If you're in master data management or catalog management, right? By showcasing some of the opportunities in your skill set, it really comes down to free indexing and librarying. And what we do is pick the right partners, pick the solutions, and then on a lot of times we'll deliver in larger aggregate deals for either government or municipalities, and be able to include you in either that bid process, a solicitation, or ultimately a scope of work.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Vin. Now, information about this member offer is available on our marketplace, supplychainpartners.co, and is listed under offers and products. And it's also available from Paradigm's storefront. So I'll be showing you that shortly. So audience, you can join our professional community at Supply Chain Partners for free and take advantage of these fantastic offers that we have available for you. So let's now check the chat box to see if we have any questions. No, we don't have any questions. So Vin, let's now discuss Paradigm's virtual conference that's taking place on the 19th of January, 2023, and registration is free. So it's called Breaking Silos, Building an Interoperable Healthcare Ecosystem. Can you please explain this virtual conference and how it's going to be conducted and what will be covered at this conference?
Certainly. Thank you so much. Yep. So I think you've nailed it, Dr. Grant. We've called it Breaking Silos to be a little bit cheeky, but really it is that interoperable healthcare system. And so when you think about it, again, all those concepts we talked about, shipping, receiving, purchasing, they're kind of these standalone cards or gaming consoles, right? And if you think about it, the way you place a call on a telephone, the way you access your gaming or your content today has changed. So in the world of streaming media like Amazon, Netflix, and Hulu, right? You have a profile. You create a user profile. Sometimes you get a cute logo or a picture. You have a subscription, right? You have preferences. You have suggested content. You have ways that you access the information. I'd dare to say almost in your prescription or through your lens. And so what we're really challenging, we've taken 8 or 9 industry experts through the entire continuum, specifically for focusing on healthcare, but a lot of manufacturing, logistics, and kind of cost and finance analytics places, come to resound as well. Also even including RevCycle. So we really started challenging experts in the surgical scheduling and demand planning arena, taking that into workflows, process, supply chain information, value analysis, and sourcing, then looking at physician preference. And really it translates dramatically to any end user or preference, right? How a particular partner will take stock or the availability to actually pick a product and why, and their value stream. And then actually the payer mix, right? So how those products are negotiated, contract, scale, paid, scored, and reimbursed ultimately at the end of the day. So we think it's pretty unique because I'm not too aware of anyone that's kind of challenged the entire ecosystem, from soup to nuts, from beginning to end. And the goal really was, to take some industry leaders and really get them to think about that concept. And one of the great analogies is, as many of us might remember, circa 1980s, you played those legacy famous games, Pac-Man, Pong, right? All those games filled in our key room at the time. And you remember those big clunky machines, right? Potentially with the joystick and the controller. Those games now fit on an SD card or an application that many of us can play on our phone. So we really took that concept and started challenging healthcare and manufacturing that way to ultimately say, how are we going to evaluate and evolve that concept? So can we take you from Nintendo to Netflix, right? And so that's really the preface for the conference. It's an all-day, completely free virtual event. So there's no charge there. Depending on your region, your locality, and where you are across the globe, there could be some continuing education credits. So we can work with you at registration for that. Many individuals are offering it as just continuing education and learning for their teams, right? To get a broader sense of what potentially is happening. And at the end of the day, we've actually challenged the panel to come together after each one of those experts has presented, similarly to myself today, their paradigm, right? And challenge that paradigm. How would they set that up for interoperability before and after their potential place in line? So we do think it's pretty innovative. We do have some industry leaders from here in the United States, and we'll be very interested in gaining attendance and insight. And then we will actually record the sessions throughout the day, and there'll be some takeaways, right? Some tools, some ROI calculators, and things that will be kind of distributed after the conference, just simply for registering. So we appreciate the exposure, the partnership with supply chain partners, and the support.
Excellent, thank you. And so who are some of the speakers at the conference?
Yeah, sure. So I think this year we were fortunate enough to have Tim Ingram, the founder of 60/60 Consultancy. So a longtime US veteran, supply chain and logistics professional, kicking off the keynote with myself. We actually had 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗏, the CEO of 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗏, what we think is one of the most pioneering innovators in surgical scheduling, and the inventor and co-founder of 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏. Our Vice President of Healthcare Workflows, 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏, the founder of the Data Leverage Group, really one of the early thought adopters in value analysis and modern workflow management, Stephen Kinsella, CEO, founder and managing partner there as well. We went further along the gamut into those physician preference, rebate management, and incentive master modules from Rodney Erb, founder of TrueView Analytics, and Dr. Stephen Holtzclaw, a CEO and I believe physician at Johns Hopkins University here internationally in the States. And then really some RevCycle leaders, Michelle and Marianne Takiavea, owners of CBT Analytics and CBT RO for RevCycle optimization, and current subject matter experts in the field. And so we're going to really run that gamut all day. And then I think it'll be a very interesting panel discussion at the end of the day, as we actually almost create I call it no workflow barred engagement, at the end of the day, to really discuss unleashing that information.
Excellent. Well, information about this event is available on our marketplace at supplychainpartners.co, and it's listed under events with a link for registration. So I'll shortly provide more information about that event soon. So I'm going to provide you with a brief tour of our Supply Chain Partners B2B marketplace community now. But before I do, Vin, thank you so much for joining us today from Paradigm Venture Group. We're very grateful for your very special offer for Supply Chain Partners members, and thank you for sharing more about your virtual conference.
No, we appreciate the opportunity. It's been great to collaborate and see the innovation and Supply Chain Partners and Dr. Grant, the team, been a fantastic experience. So we're very excited to see what we can catalyze together for 2023. And we look forward to seeing you at the conference. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vin. So I'll just share my screen. So Supply Chain Partners, we do provide an educational approach to help industry to navigate through that complex world of business and supply chain. And we do this through various ways. We're able to put you in touch with experts with regards to key business and supply chain solutions to help you address those critical issues and also to help you to operate your business. And so if you become a member of Supply Chain Partners, you can join as an individual member or a corporate member or an expert member. So being an expert member allows you to showcase your solutions and to really get involved with our members. So what we also are doing this year, well, for 2023, we're putting together a full calendar of events so that we can help with that relationship building and with that knowledge and understanding about those critical issues and what are the strategies and solutions to help address those types of issues. We also have our Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast that we launched earlier this year, and that allows us to really go to town on what are these issues all about, how are they impacting on organizations and industry. So when you come to our marketplace, you're able to have a look through, and the homepage is dedicated to our Gold Partner members. So the industry does rely on us as their one-stop solution so that they can find the experts they need to help them to build their industry ecosystem. And so as you come down, you can see our featured categories so that we have very broad categories so that it's very easy to find everything. And you'll see our featured services of our Gold Partners and also their featured products and featured articles, etc. And you'll see a random selection of our Gold Partners and then our TV and podcasts, and with our events. And we also have a jobs board for professionals. So when you have a look through our directory, you will see our Gold Partners appearing first, and there's a random assortment of our Gold Partners. And then you're able to click through and to navigate through to their storefront. So here's the Paradigm Venture Group storefront, and on their storefront, you're able to get a lot more information about their business, what they're all about, and further details about their team. And then you can have a look through any of the services and products and articles that they have published, and also the event that we've just been talking about. And so every time that you do publish something on your storefront, it then appears in the list of services, etc. So if you're publishing services and products, it's just going to appear in these lists. And with our training, say our training is quite significant. There's quite a few different offers that you can have for Supply Chain Partners members. There's a few training workshops there, and there's free and also half price, etc. So you can have a look through those. And with our events that we have coming up, so we're going to be going, we're putting together that full calendar of events that I was talking about. And so you're going to be seeing quite a few events that we're going to be holding each month. And as I was mentioning, executive roundtables and educational webinars, deep dive workshops, fireside chats, and also our virtual conference. Let's now have a look at Paradigm Venture Group's virtual conference. So this is the conference here. So it provides all the details. So there's a full itinerary here that you can go through to understand what the conference is about and who are the speakers. And you can click through to read more information on the event website itself, and you're able to click this button here, and that will take you through to the event website so that you can actually register for that event there. So you'll be able to find that just by going to events here. We also list our speakers and topics that our members choose to display, because we have good relationships with industry organizers and they come to us looking for speakers. And so it's good to understand who our speakers are across our expert members and what speakers and what topics do they talk about. Now, when you hover over to the member offers, you're able to go through all of these offers, and then you'll find Paradigm's offer right here. So if we click through to that offer, you'll be able to see that offer here, and then you can have a look at the image here about the Paradigm Shift app, and then click through, and then you'll see another image here about what we were just talking about before. So have a look at this offer and then contact Vin, and you'll be able to find out more about that offer and become a member of Supply Chain Partners for free, and then you'll be able to take advantage of that offer. Now, this is Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast, and so we broadcast across the world, and currently our listeners span across 19 countries, and so we're very happy with the reach and reception that we're getting about our podcast. And so it's available on over 10 or more podcast channels across the world. And so what we do with our podcast is that we have a particular formula that we use when we put a podcast together. And so let me just show you one of our podcasts. So you can watch the video there, or you can actually listen to the podcast here, and that's on Spotify, or you can choose one of your favorite podcast channels and you'll find us on there. And then as you come through here, then you'll see the timestamps that we've highlighted, because we break up our interview and we talk about a particular issue first and understand how's that issue impacting on organizations and industry. And then we talk about a real life client example and what were the key lessons that were learned. And then we talk about the services and products that's provided by that expert member. Let's now have a look at our news, and so you can hover over to our news. And so what we do each month is produce our big newsletter. And so this is our latest newsletter. So you might like to have a look through our newsletter. And then you'll actually see all our celebrations, our achievements that we've achieved this year for Supply Chain Partners members. We've been working very hard. And so you'll see that we feature a TV and podcast every month, and we feature a Gold Partners article and also a service, and then training. And then we'll have a list of events that we're also showcasing as well. We'll also push traffic towards 3 categories. And then we showcase 6 gold partners and also have our gold partner logo collage. So we welcome you to check out our latest newsletter. So you can join Supply Chain Partners. You just hover over to the membership, and then you'll see what we're all about. And so we're all about that relationship building and that educational side, so that you can get to know our industry experts on a deeper level and really get into the heart of those issues that are really worrying organizations, and how can you address those issues. So we have the 3 memberships, so individual, corporate, and expert. So let's just have a quick look at the individual membership. So basically the individual membership allows you with that networking professional development, and right now you can join for free on a 1-year free trial. So we have the executive, professional, and associate level, and that allows you to attend our professional development events and get to know our expert members as well, and access our library, and also post an open for work post so that you can show the other professionals that you're available for work. Here is an example individual member profile. And so you can see that you get to publish articles, etc. And we've just got a few examples. So this is an example, and you're able to get to our examples from our footer. Now with our corporate membership, so this allows you to really bring your team on board, and so that you have your team able to have access to our professional development, and also to meet with our expert members as well and have access to our library. And so here is an example corporate member profile, and so they're able to publish quite a few things on their profile, as well as jobs, etc., and contribute to our library. And you can get to know more about the corporate member there. And with an expert membership, you're able to, that is for suppliers and providers of business and supply chain services, products and solutions. And you can use our marketplace. It is for your all-in-one business development and marketing solution. We do market to our broad audience of 21,000 members, not members, but 21,000 in our audience. There are followers and subscribers across the world, and it's growing quite rapidly. So we showcase your storefront and build brand awareness, and you're able to deliver or attend our professional development. And so we have the 3 levels there with the gold partner, silver, and bronze. And so you can come here and have a look at all the different types of benefits. If you're a gold partner, then you have basically all year round marketing support. So we provide you with a lot of different ways that you can reach your target audience. And you can also come on our Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast. And so we also have an example storefront. So if you're using all of your benefits, and then you could have a lot of publishing power on your storefront. And so you can dress up your storefront and really showcase what your business is all about and who your team members are, etc. Now, you can subscribe to Supply Chain Partners in about 10 different ways. And so you can subscribe to our newsletter and updates and our podcast channels across our social media. You can join our LinkedIn group, and you can also subscribe to our LinkedIn newsletter. That's linked to our Supply Chain Partners company page, or that's also linked to my LinkedIn profile. Now, our next Supply Chain Partners coffee break is coming up on the 13th of June, and that is, 13th of January, and that is with Unchained Solutions. So you'll be able to get to find out about Unchained Solutions member offer. And so Unchained Solutions, they are modern slavery experts. So basically they have a turnkey solution for your needs so that you can develop your modern slavery strategy, do the risk analysis and modern slavery training, and also they can help you to put together your modern slavery statement, and they also conduct research as well. So you'll get to find out more about that on the 13th of January. So we've come to the end of our Supply Chain Partners coffee break for today with Paradigm Venture Group. Now, Paradigm is a performance improvement company that focuses on improving the performance of business workflows, supply chains, and healthcare performance. So be sure to take advantage of their very special offer for Supply Chain Partners members, and check out their virtual conference that's coming up on the 19th of January. Now, we'd love you to join our professional community at Supply Chain Partners and take advantage of our member offers and our free professional development online events coming up for the year of 2023. So we wish to take this opportunity to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a safe and happy new year. So bye for now, and we look forward to seeing you again in the new year.